My name's Yates. I would have to say probably the biggest obstacle I've had to overcome in my life was the loss of my brother. He was tragically killed by a drunk driver. He was hit on July 31st, 2011, and he was pronounced dead on August 1st, 2011. The quick story in a nutshell, the girl, she went to a party, she was doing drugs and was drinking, and her friends let her get in the car and start to drive home. And after many miles, she ended up getting on the wrong side of the highway on the dam where there was like a barrier, so she was going across, against traffic, missing a bunch of cars late at night. And then my brother had just gotten off work, was just driving home, and she was the one that she collided with. It was a head-on collision. He was pronounced dead twice from the scene going to the hospital. When they got him to the hospital, they were able to, keep him stable while they were like doing procedures and things, trying to like keep him alive as much as they could. But it ended up being where he was brain dead because there was too much swelling in his brain. So it came down to my family's decision. It was we could either leave him on the machines to keep him alive, or so we decided that it was like that's not really a life to live for a person. Like he would just be a vegetable. So there was no point. So he was pronounced dead on August 1st, 2011 when he was 25 years old. Me and my mom, we didn't want my brother to for his death to be in vain. So we're like, all right, we want to save as many people as we can somehow with this tragedy. So we started our nonprofit called 1 in 3, because at the time the statistic was 1 in 3 people were impacted by drunk driving. And so we were like, all right, so that's where we got the name 1 in 3. And so pretty much the main thing that we do is raise awareness about drunk driving and just keeping our roads safe in that way. Just making sure, just be smart and be safe. Now we have Uber and Lyft and so many convenient ways and cheap ways to get home safely. And even just making the smart choice. If you're gonna be driving, either make sure you're not, drinking a ton, or just don't drink at all if you're not going to be driving. As far as having the nonprofit, for us, it has helped us a lot because it's given us a chance to talk about how much joy in life that when my brother was alive, what he brought to other people. It's a way to continue on his life through us in a way, and through his story. Some people will be like, how can you relive that every day? Especially my mom. She's the one that does it the most and tells the story and pulls the van around and has the woman who killed her son right next to her all the time. So it's I can only imagine even for her what she goes through in constant battle in her mind. But I can only imagine it's how much it has helped her, because it makes you face your fears and makes you face the things you don't want to think about in that way. So I think in a way it kind of it pushed us towards having to grieve and to go through it without shutting down and completely putting it off to the side. I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and now I live in Los Angeles, California. In Chattanooga there is Uber and Lyft, but there's not as much of it there. It's still not as huge of a thing. So drinking and driving there is a much larger thing. Now, as far as for me and my friends, like I mentioned before, I have driven drunk, admittedly, and most everybody has at some point. It's pretty rare these days, especially, that you haven't done it, even if you didn't realize you were doing it. And you wake up and you're like, oh man, what was I thinking when I did that? I shouldn't have been doing that. Not as much Uber and Lyft, but for me and my friends, it was a wake up call, even for just us, to be all right, we've got to really think about what we're doing. And I'm not even a big drinker, so for me to even have to be oh wow, I've done that before, it's kind of crazy. And for me personally, I don't really go out a whole lot of ton, and I don't really hang around crowds and people that do that a lot. So for me, I'm not really around it as much. But as far as the type of actions I would like to take if you see people doing that, I haven't necessarily had to deal with that, luckily, I guess, as far as having to intervene or really step in, because I said, the people I'm usually around tend not to do that. So that's where I'm doing the push of the nonprofit, and wearing a wristband, don't drink and drive, and making sure we keep it out there on social media and things like that. And actually what's funny is in Los Angeles, California, I would have assumed that more people would be partying and getting crazy and being less responsible, but people are more responsible here, I would actually have to say, just because of Uber and Lyft. So Uber and Lyft, I think, has been a huge and amazing technological advancement just for us as a society, just being safer. just because it's readily available for us to like, you know, click a little app and then like someone's picking us up. So I think actually, and just because of that in general, and like I wasn't here before Uber and Lyft, so I don't know how it was before, but just since for me moving here a year ago, it's actually like, it's pretty amazing like how people like actually do think about that and like do take responsibility for that. Like obviously I know people still do it, but I don't think it's as often as people do anymore. Like schools and events and things like that, and then she'll tell the story of like what happened, and we'll show videos and things like that. And then we actually have the van that he was killed in, and she brings it on a trailer, and so there's a visual aspect of it, so people can go out and like actually like visually see like how he was like crunched up in the front seat and like just everything, like just how incredibly terrible it looks. So it's a nice like in your face kind of impact, not just seeing the pictures that people see. And then as far as the forgiveness side, the woman that killed him, she actually lived. She only suffered some very minor injuries, recovered from those, and then she spent 1.5 years in jail. Partly that was actually a very short time because we went to her probation hearing and helped her get out early, because my family and I, we decided to forgive her. And because I mean, like, she just was in a really bad spot in her life, and it was one of those things that was like, I mean, like, I had to think back. I was like, I've driven drunk before, so I was like, how could I be mad at someone, you know, forever for doing something that I've done before? Like, so it was just an honest mistake. She was incredibly remorseful, and I mean, she has kids and she has a family and that kind of thing, and so it impacted her just as deeply. Now she has to live with the fact that she's killed somebody. And so we chose to forgive her, and we helped her get out of jail early, and she actually joined our nonprofit. And so she goes with my mom to schools and events and things now once we got her out, and she goes alongside with her in tandem, and they tell a story from both different sides. So it's even larger impacts, and she's become a part of it. And so yeah, like it's just like, yeah, so for forgiveness, and I would think turning a negative into a positive is something that we chose to do that really helped us out a lot. And obviously there's plenty of people who go through similar situations and tragedies, and even that are very similar as far as like, you know, losing family members or friends to drunk driving. Everyone's road is different. Like there's no right or wrong way to grieve. And for some people it takes longer than others. Not everybody in my family forgave her as quickly as we did. So for some people it took them, you know, a few months or a few years even before they were able to like be okay with seeing her, being around her without, you know, like without having like some really bad thoughts that most people wouldn't really have. And even we'll tell people the story and they're like, I would want to kill her if it was me. Like there's no way I could ever see her in person ever again without like doing something terrible. And so the biggest thing I can say is just like, you know, do your process as long as it's healthy, and it's, you know, like if it takes you a while, if it takes you crying every day, if it takes years, even for my mom, it's still fresh. It's been 5.5 years now, and it still feels like, you know, her baby was taken away from her. So it's gonna be different for different type of people too, like from mothers or for brothers or friends, like so you do you, don't feel ashamed, don't feel like that you are wrong for taking too much time. I mean, obviously you do have to still get up, you still have to put your clothes on, you still have to do your normal every day. So like the biggest thing I can say is also like just don't completely shut down. Like you have to keep pushing, you have to keep going. And then for us, like I said, we turned a negative into a positive. Not necessarily like you don't have to start a nonprofit to do that, but you can still, for yourself and, you know, people that you know and are around you, like make smart choices and, you know, be safe and that kind of thing.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm Jarrett Martino, and I'm the creator of Inner Warrior, turning pain into positives, and we're creating a tribe of warriors. If you'd like to submit your story for our blog or an upcoming shoot, please email us at stpvoice@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to connect with us on social media. Thanks so much.